Alrighty, in this video we're going to learn how to handle errors in n8n. There is a specific trigger for receiving errors that occur within a workflow, and it's your choice as to how you handle those. So here is the error trigger, and it's really simple. It doesn't do anything in particular other than when an error occurs in a workflow, it's going to trigger the next action. What I want it to do is to send me an email whenever a workflow has an error, and that way I can go and inspect it to see what the problem is. So I have connected a send message to Gmail node, and I've got it going to my account, and I simply choose to send a message. And I've got my email address there, and I have a subject so that I know specifically what I'm looking for, and I can filter on those if I want to, or create a rule in my inbox. I am sending it as pure text just to keep it really simple, and the message that I'm sending, obviously you can configure this however you want, but I've got error, and then I've got the time with a date and timestamp of when it occurred. Then the workflow, so you can actually drop in the specific workflow, and it will put the name of the workflow in there so you know immediately which one has failed. You can put the error message, which is sent from n8n, so that you can pass through the message and have a sense of what it is before you open it up. And finally, it will give you a link, and when you open that link, it'll take you to the execution of that workflow so that you can see what the error was. So what I've done here is created, so I've got my error handler first of all, and then I've created a node that its only purpose is to stop the workflow and to create an error. And the error message it sends, error occurred in the workflow, it'll bubble that up. I could use that message on my own. The error type is error message, and I can connect that to an event. So these errors are only raised when the automation flow is working. You can't manually trigger an error, which makes sense. Now, the other thing you have to make sure is that the primary or main workflow that's going to trigger the error has to be in an active state, which is up the top here with the green button. And you also have to change the settings for this workflow. So you click on the little dots up the top right-hand corner, you select settings. The second option down is error workflow. So you actually select which error workflow is going to handle this. And in that error workflow, you must have your error trigger. So I'm referencing back to this same workflow to say you will find it in here. Finally, save that. And now we're going to trigger it. So I've got an event set up for every 10 seconds that this scheduler will trigger the next node, and I will get an email in my inbox once I connect it. So this is my inbox. It's nice and empty right now. When I go and connect this, it should only take about 10 seconds that it will go and trigger that. We may not see the actual event and the action occurring, but very quickly you can see we now have an email in my inbox. So I have an email here from myself. It says an error occurred in the n8n workflow. When I open it up, I can see the date and timestamp. I can see which workflow it was. I can see the error message, so error occurred in the workflow, and I can click on this workflow, and that's going to open up n8n, and it's going to take me directly to the workflow that failed, and it's going to show me the executions tab so I can see the error that actually occurred. And what I can do is zoom in on this and see that this node is the one that has an error because it's red and it's got a red cross. I can see that problem in node stop an error occurred. I can open that up, see the message error occurred in the workflow. So now I can analyze and debug what the problem is and go about fixing it, which is a great solution for a developer like yourself. So now I have a way of notifying myself whenever an error occurs, and I have a way of going in and looking at it and fixing it.